Hello there everyone, this is Mark3 and welcome back to Cosmoteer. Yes, and welcome back to the Grand Shaft, which is, well, it's about to become a bit more spiky and a bit more powerful and hopefully a bit better built, question mark? That's the general idea, at least. But yeah, I'm going to be starting a time lapse in the background here, so that's going to probably cover the background of like while I respond to comments and stuff like that. And then we're going to get into combat, so there's going to be quite a lot of combat focus this time around. Yes. Now, comments from last time. There was some clarification, but for the most part, the comments actually have been along the lines of being accepting with my suggestion that I try to retool this ship off camera, which is kind of what you guys are seeing at the moment. Honestly, I wasn't too comfortable trying to do that, because it would take me a while. I'd and awe, and I'd hesitate, and I'd just be tinkering with all the stuff that was already there. So, as you can see in the background, I basically broke the ship apart and tried to redo a lot of the internal mechanisms. I'm fairly happy with what I came out with, and one I seemed okay with it as well, if I'm going to be honest. But yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on. Don't worry, there are more comments. I'm just going because I'm trying to say this stuff while guessing at what's going on the screen. It's very disconcerting to me, honestly. I'm trying to do a voiceover for something I've actually already pre-prepared, and I know what's happening, but I'm not used to, you know, it feels off to me doing it exactly this way because I'm waiting for essentially the video to catch up. Anyway, a couple of you guys said it was okay with me working off camera. Happy Hafer pointed out that I forgot mirror mode in some of my reworking. That hopefully that's no longer an issue, seeing as I've rebuilt the entire darn thing pretty much. But you know, it might still be a thing. And if you spot something that is missing, just let me know, because this thing is meant to be a quote-unquote improvement in every way. It's bigger, longer, spikier than ever before. Yes. And the other comment from Damodoc on the video itself is, needs more DACA. There's my comment, smiley face. Seriously though, I've always liked you doing building games. I've always enjoyed building games. It's I think it's my preferred game type, just building stuff. It's what I seem to settle into doing, and then my low sense of self-worth means I generally delete what I build because I don't see any worth in keeping it around, and I don't plan to doing anything with it beyond building it. So there you go, a little insight into me there. But more DACA. I don't know if the time lapse has hit this part yet. Probably has. But part of the refit here was installation of side cannon batteries to help with when I'm being attacked by multiple targets. So, you know, that's a little something. And I think I'm going to round out this part because I am watching a clock going. So I know roughly when we're going to be done with the time-lapse kind of thing going on. And that is towards the end of last time. I was getting a bit confused about who built what ship, basically. And one I actually was kind enough to clarify, again, on the Discord about that. Clarified that the ship in question was actually that ship which made me go running for the hills. That was a player-built contest winner, which made it into the game. And I learned some interesting things there, such as many of the in-game ships have actually been reworked because they were so weak compared to the contest winners that were getting into the game. And one I personally did a whole bunch of them. So did Redstone too. I think that is. Let me just double check. Now, Redstone was weighing in on the sheer difference. I don't know if Redstone did much refitting, but one I definitely did. Comments are a bit vague in this part here. Yeah, some interesting stuff though. And as I said, one I has actually already weighed in on the design as it stands right now, which we should be done now with the time lapse, so we can now see exactly what's going on here. So, this is what we've got. What I've done is I've lengthened the railguns by 2 blocks, so the railguns now hit harder. I have reinforced the forward shielding by a whole bunch, as well as reallocate them. So the forward shielding is thicker. I've also repositioned the ion beam focusing crystals a little bit, so they are actually behind more overlapping shields. And they are a bit more protected, but have a bit less angle of fire, and I think that's okay for a trade-off. The armor, I didn't install any of this previously, but one I noticed and appreciated that I did it, which is I've installed spaced armor. Now, as I understand it, this armor is a bit less effective against like raw withering DPS, like laser bolts and ion beams and stuff like that, but it is more effective at blocking penetrating shots like cannons and railguns. Unless I've got that backwards, in which case more fool me. But hey, details. Now, as you can see, I've also stripped out the ion bolts batteries on the sides and replaced them with 2 forward-facing ones, which are hopefully a bit better positioned to engage forward targets and just to help with any kind of defensive shielding a bit better than the ones on the sides, which were frankly not doing much at all. Now, on the matter of the side batteries, I've done something which may be a little bit odd and probably might raise a few eyebrows. Raise a few eyebrows. Words. And what I've done is, well, you can tell by the fact there's more reactors and things around the place, but I've actually split up the internal systems a fair bit. And I've actually taken the what I had in terms of the point defense gun grid on a small reactor, and I've added to that 4 side-mounted cannon batteries and a forward-facing flak mount as well. And I know for a fact, because I commented on this actually when I put this on Discord last night, that I don't have enough ammo production for the flak battery. Well, I have enough for the flak battery if it was by itself. And I know I've got enough for the 4 cannons by themselves. Power generation, I've not got enough still for the PD, but I kind of want that to be like have an extra burst of power and then stagger off if it gets too heavy. But I'm okay with that. And actually, I should probably change that to just like regular corridor. That seems a bit better. Yeah, let's add a little bit of extra fire suppression in the area too. We don't have much money, but we can do that much at least. There we go. But the idea of this section is, it's not meant to be all working at the same time. So, if it's just the flak battery engaging, then the ammo systems from down here and this spare ammo magazine up here should be enough to keep the flak battery firing pretty darn well. Probably not constantly, they'll probably run dry after a bit, but as long as it can keep going, that's fine. Though, I said I accidentally put these things in a good spot for blocking Emp Missiles. That was a complete accident, by the way, but yeah, apparently I did. Side mount, of course, the reactor feeds the PDs. The reactor also feeds the ammo factories, and if a ship moves around into this area, we've got the 4 side-mounted cannons. I chose the smaller cannons because they've got a bigger firing arc and their shots travel faster, so they stand a better chance of actually hitting things, I think, compared to the heavy cannons. They just don't do as much damage. But that should be good, unless I need more crew. The next sector houses the EMP system, so that's the electrobolts. It's also got a dense set of shielding, as well as a rear-mounted engine pod. So extra thrust is available for forward and some steering force here. And that was meant to be a full-size big reactor. I was going to say like a class 3 or a size 4. It's like, I keep getting mixed up with the names on the reactors, but it was meant to be a size large one. But for budget concerns, it's only a medium. So that's why there's an extra corridor around it. So I can swap it out if I get the funds, and if it needs it, I'm going to have to keep an eye on it. Same story with this section here, which is just running the 5 shields at the front, as well as the local hyperspace core and the sensor room and the control room on the other side. Again, it's a medium size reactor, and I'm going to be watching it to see that if I've got enough crew if it all works okay, you know, just have to wait and see on that part. Moving backwards now, you can tell the ammo reserves have gone because I've rearranged things at the end of the railgun here, but I've also moved the aft reactor core up forward, so it's actually right up next to the ion beams, as is the other one here. I might move this a little bit further still, compact it a little bit, but I wanted to keep that general structure around there, letting people move around it. I also moved the crew spaces up a little bit too, so there is that. But this should allow the ion beams to be firing more consistently because power is more readily accessible for all that. Missile batteries, pretty much the same as before, except I've managed to bolt in a couple of FTL drives to them, because reasons. So there's a bit of armor missing, which I'll fix now. There we go. So they've got an FTL drive just for better FTL placement, and they've got elongated pylons of armor to help protect the launchers a bit better. Hopefully they're not so long they're interfering with the missile launch pattern. I think they'll be okay, but I'm going to have to watch those too. This is all the side thrust we've got right now, but it'll have to do until I manage to refit some more. Then if we move down to the back here, we have got last two FTLs, and we've got... well, I've reshuffled the crew spaces around back here a bit. I've added the FTL drives and shifted their position a tiny bit. And as you can see, I've actually finally installed more engines. It's only took me, what, maybe 5 episodes or so? But we do have more engines. And so we've got the two huge thrusters for forward thrust, and on the side mounts we've got large thrusters in an engine room, just so that we've got extra turning force, extra braking force, extra reverse, extra forward. So in general, actually we might not have as much turning force because I've actually taken off the side mounted ones, but the plan is when I get funds I'm going to be duplicating this design outwards, and so it's going to be engine room, maybe engine room again, just like expanding it out so that the entire thing can operate a bit better. Though one I did raise a concern here, which is he thought it might not be enough even with engine rooms, which I do actually have here, as you can see. It might not be enough to keep the engines running with the reactor core all the way up here, so we'll have to remain vigilant on that and see if we actually do need a reactor closer. Though hopefully not. But anyway, that's another 5 minutes or so, just looking over the design as it is, and hopefully it meets with your guys' approval or understanding. I mean, this area is unarmored, but that's just because we don't have money. But enough waffling on. I've touched on the comments. We need to go murder stuff. I think that's the general idea, isn't it? Oh yeah. Also, I think I should mention that this ship is actually more FTL efficient than it was before, because it was actually suffering words. It was suffering from some FTL inefficiency before I refitted it. So efficiency is now above 90%, and it was like at low 80, almost into the 70% before. So the upgrades were a thing. Okay, what's slowing us down? It is this area. Okay. I will tell the missile boys that they can go ahead and feed the FTL drive. That should fix it. Yep, there they go. As you saw at the end of the time lapse, I did do a bunch of tinkering and crew adjustments and stuff like that. Like, I've actually directly assigned some people for different rooms now, so I was confused for a while because my railguns weren't firing up, and that's because all the gunnery crews were only working on that bit. They weren't automatically going to those when the loader module didn't need them, so that was a bit weird. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's like see to your assigned rooms and then you can do something else, you know? Anyway, let's see. We've got we got a big boy and a couple of small boys. The big boy is already moving to engage. What are you? Lots of PD. Some electro bolts, which of course I need to murder post haste. It's actually a gunship type, I think. Though if we look, smoke, the side cannon is actually engaging this guy over here. That is good. These guys, I think, are trying to engage. Let's slow it down because I'm trying to work out what's going on here. Side armor is taking hits. Side armor is not really built for this. I don't like that where that one is positioned, but I don't want to ignore it either. Kill that electrovolt, please. Tell you what, let's strip away all the forward weaponry. Just because it seems like a good idea. And then, oh, we've got electrobolts coming in from a few side areas as well. Oh, that's a railgun ship over there. Oh. You know what, focus fire that thing, pretty please. Yeah, that guy's getting around behind us. I do not like that. Railgun shot impacted and blasted through armor. Okay, we don't need to really bother about that. Turn around, please. We're doing okay, I think. But this ship does still need turning force. Because I'm not sure where we're taking damage. We're taking mostly electrobolt hits. That guy did have other things, but I think the cannon shredded everything else. So okay, so that means this guy's the big threat now. The railgun ship. Oh, but my missile batteries are doing something about it. I'm glad I installed these guys. How are they doing? Mostly okay. They're running out though, I think, because they're trying to feed all the systems. So the PDs are demanding power while the cannons are also unloading. So I think we need more crew in those side mounts. Oh, you're dead? You're dead. Okay. Right. Murder this one, please. And then are you still alive? You are. But you are also not very much... Yeah. Okay. This ship actually worked quite well, I think. I think the side cannons have done great. Maybe side-mounted ion beams would also be a good idea. Probably weak ones, but something. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how that worked out, to be honest. There we go. Hey! Me am satisfied! Kind of. Let's see, what's the damage prognosis? Mostly armor damage. We did lose one of the focus crystals, of course. But 20,000... It's 20,000 in repairs, 102,000 gains. Mostly like superficial damage to side-mounted systems, because we got flanked. Most of its damage is actually down here to the rear engine bay, because, again, we got flanked. Okay, let's take a few. Let's take a few hints out of the professionals playbook and actually give the engine some housing of sorts. No, I need that one. So something that they the pros like to do is just have extra slats of armor around outside. Wait, no, that's off the build grid. Is have some extra slats of armor around, just like extra spikes, because I think because it intercepts incoming shots and stuff like that. So you know, just to help protect it. There wasn't really any protecting this area because you know it's exposed weaponry system, so shots in from that side is going to cause problems. Let's do what I said and actually install some extra crew in that area. So if it does get swamped, it will be helped. Though I don't like how I'm stripping away the armor plating between the ammo factory and the next section over. Don't like that at all. But there is a bit of a lack of space going on there in general. So an extra 4 crew. I don't think that'll be enough for fully engaging, so we'll try it like that. Sadly, I got distracted by the fight though, so I didn't see how the rest of the ship was performing. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we can find this time. Power room's running out, but they are being restocked. Okay, there are little flickers in the engines, it looks like. But I think I can overcome this by just having a couple more battery mules. Or maybe a couple of extra power banks down here. Because the engines were actually fine as long as those were stocked. And those can be stocked pretty efficiently, thanks to there being a huge reactor providing the power. So that's actually working pretty much okay. I'm okay with that as it stands. Though I think, yeah, if I expand the array, we will need more. Okay, let's see. What have we got? We've got a... I'm going to murder you immediately, buddy, because I don't like you. Then I'm going to turn and engage you. So I'm kind of focusing on the support ships, unless you've got something nasty. You've got twin ion beams, actually. But other than that, a lot of cannons. Maybe you're... Well, you're nearer, so... okay. Knock out the ion beams first, because I fear them more than the cannons. My ion beams have better range than yours. Nope. Oh dear. Well, how's that for a screenshot? Boom. I think I might have found the thumbnail for this episode, actually. My ion beams are more dangerous than yours. Haha. Okay, right. Let's deal with the electrobolt boat next. Yeah. Okay. Forward shields are browning out a little bit. They're mostly slamming back online. Took a little bit of damage. Okay. Yeah, that went pretty well, I think. I will install a couple of extra doors, though. There and there, just to facilitate moving around in that area. Because they're drawing from the battery banks part, but aren't next to them, so that's potentially a bit of an issue. Anyway, I said maybe some extra battery mules and extra battery storage in the engine bay would fix the power issue. So let's install that now. Let's install some battery banks close by. Like that. And let's install some extra crew space up here. And I'll go ahead and do expedited egress as well, so conveyor line straight out. Like so. Okay. And I'm going to set... I wish it didn't zoom out as soon as I hit crew roll. I want it to stay in the view it was in. But you two rooms are battery mules. Actually, let's make you guys general purpose. Yeah, general purpose for you guys. You are set to man the ion cannons, but I think I want... Let's get you and be battery mules. You guys are really close to the reactor. You guys focus on moving power packs around. Yeah. That should do good. Okay. Next engagement. Move on. I think we still need more thrusters, but that's an ongoing complaint, so nothing new there. What have we got? We've got... ooh. A tricksy one. You're going to die. Cannon bolt and missiles. Potentially dangerous. Don't know how well I'm going to fare, but the missiles might be a bit irritating. I could make those spikes longer, I think, by a good bit. But yeah, long-range ion beams, though, are quite handy to have. Just chew through the enemy ships. Okay. Next target is this thing. I can tell this is a contest winner because it's got this odd fractal paint scheme, which seems to be really popular among the guys who know what they're doing in this game. It seems to be a rotating type, lots of distributed power plants and weaponry. So I think as this thing gets damaged, it's meant to like spin around and reorient itself, which brings fresh things to it. Ooh, EMP missiles, I think those are. Lots of cannons. There is a tractor beam. That's what that big blue thing is. Never seen one of those in a ship I've fought before, but yeah, I need more turning force. Actually, no, engage this guy. Just core his reactor out, please. Yep, that'll do. And that leaves you. You are tractor beaming for... You're trying to do something. Are you pulling me closer? You are, aren't you? Why would you want to do that? Well, I've lost that assembly area there, but now you're in range of my side cannons, so have fun with that. And for some reason that cannon seems to be off. Oh. Well, what's this called? An aggressive pylon. You know what? I think the entire point of this one is to spin around, isn't it? And just be an annoyance. Ooh. So that's what an EMP missile looks like. Kinda nasty. Too bad though, I'm actually managing to turn to face you now, so have at it, good sir. Have at it. Yeah, those forward-mounted electric bolts are working very well on my ship. Let's see. Cannons are holding up just fine when it's not needed. The extra crews solve the problems there, it seems like. The only thing is the PDs are not really in use. So yeah, as long as only partial systems are used, those are working okay. Shields are holding up fine, but we're gutting the ship now, so it's not really... Yeah, it's not really posing much of a threat left anymore, so... Don't know why some of the missiles decided to go flying around the other side of my ship, but they were. Okay, let's see. They still love to knock out my focusing prisms. That is kind of irritating. Other than that, again, relatively minor damage. Yeah, 9,500, almost entirely around the area where the focusing crystal got nuked. And then mostly side damage on the side where they were trying to engage me, but that ship didn't really have much by way of focused firepower, so yeah. Oh, that's something I forgot to do then. Well, actually not forgot, it's more like I prioritised elsewhere, is that these crystals don't actually have any kind of side protection, so that's why one of them got damaged. Let's install some side plating on that now. There we go. Just protect them a little bit. But yeah, it's the grand spiky shaft thing is working out okay, I think. Oh look, it's got a little piece of debris stuck on it. Needs more turning force, needs more strafing force, but that's nothing new. But we've got another couple 100,000. We can install some more engine banks on this thing now. But I think the weapon complement is doing great. Needs more missiles, but you know, we always need more explosives. Nothing new there. But I'm afraid that's also all the time we've got for this episode. So, yeah, hope you guys are okay with how things turned out and how I went with refitting the ship in general. And I hope you guys approve of what it's become. But one drawback of having the extra forward banks here is that it can't turn on the spot anymore. It flies off a little bit, and then it has to strafe a little bit too. So, I don't know. But yeah, this has been iMark3. Thank you all very much for watching. Hope you guys are enjoying the show, and I'll catch you all some other time. Yes, indeed. See you all later. I didn't actually notice the engines powering down at all during that, so I think they aren't under as much strain when I'm actually engaging in a fight. It's more when I'm travelling around. But those extra energy banks do seem to be doing just fine for that too. Yes, carry those batteries. I command you to move those batteries. Do my bidding. Yes.